If you had told me that the man I had loved for 12 years was secretly planning a future with another woman, I would have told you that you were crazy. But the night I found his second phone, I didn't feel angry. I felt free. Because for the first time I finally knew the truth. My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 38 years old, and for 12 years, I believed I had the kind of marriage people secretly envied. My husband, Daniel, was successful, charming, and always knew exactly what to say. We had 2 children, a beautiful house, and a comfortable life. At least, that's what everyone saw. And honestly, that's what I saw too. Until Daniel started changing. At first, the changes were small. He started coming home late. Then he began taking his phone everywhere. Even to the bathroom. He changed his password. He stopped leaving his phone on the kitchen counter. And whenever I walked into the room while he was texting, he'd suddenly turn the screen face down. I noticed. Of course I noticed. But I didn't want to become the suspicious wife who checked her husband's phone every 5 minutes. So I trusted him. Or maybe I was just afraid of what I would find if I stopped trusting him. One Tuesday evening, Daniel came home almost 2 hours late. He walked through the door, kissed my forehead, and smiled. "Crazy day at work," he said. I looked at him. His shirt was slightly wrinkled. There was a strange perfume on his jacket. And his phone was already in his hand. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah. Just exhausted." Then his phone vibrated. He looked at the screen. And smiled. Not the smile he gave me. A different one. A private smile. I felt something twist inside my stomach. "Who was that?" I asked casually. "Work." Just one word. "Work." I nodded. "Okay." That night, I couldn't sleep. Daniel was lying beside me, breathing peacefully. I stared at the ceiling. And suddenly, I remembered all the little things I'd ignored. The business dinners. The mysterious meetings. The new cologne. The sudden interest in working out. The way he had started criticizing everything about our marriage. "You've changed, Claire. You're always busy. We don't have the same connection anymore." At the time, I thought he was trying to save our marriage. Now I wondered if he was preparing me to blame myself. 3 days later, Daniel told me he had another business dinner. He kissed me goodbye and said he'd probably be home late. I smiled. "Have a good night." He left. 10 minutes later, I heard the garage door close. Then silence. I went into the kitchen. And that's when I saw it. A phone. Sitting underneath a pile of papers on the counter. It wasn't his regular phone. It was smaller. Black. And completely unfamiliar. For several seconds, I just stared at it. My first instinct was to leave it alone. My second instinct was stronger. I picked it up. There was no password. The screen lit up. One notification appeared. "Madison, I miss you already. When are you finally leaving her?" I stopped breathing. I read it again. Then another message appeared. "Daniel, soon. Claire suspects nothing." My hand started shaking. I sat down at the kitchen table. 12 years of memories suddenly felt like scenes from someone else's life. Our wedding. Our honeymoon. The birth of our children. The anniversary dinners. Every "I love you." Every late night. Every business trip. How many of those moments had been real? Then the phone buzzed again. This time, Madison sent a photo. I opened it. Daniel was standing beside her. His arm was wrapped around her waist. And he was smiling. The same smile I'd seen 3 days earlier. Except now I knew who it was for. I expected to cry. I expected to scream. Instead, I felt strangely calm. I placed the phone on the table. Then I opened my laptop. And I did something I had never done before. I checked our bank accounts. That's when I discovered something even worse. There were several large withdrawals I didn't recognize. $8,000. $12,000. $5,500. And one transfer for nearly $30,000. My stomach dropped. I checked the transaction details. The money wasn't going to Madison directly. It was going to a company. A company I had never heard of. MNB Holdings. I searched the company name. My heart stopped. The registered owner was Madison Reed. Daniel wasn't just having an affair. He was financing her life. Our money. Our savings. Our future. I sat there until midnight, staring at the screen. Then I heard the garage door open. Daniel was home. He walked into the kitchen. "Hey, sweetheart." I looked at him. He smiled. I smiled back. "Did you have a good dinner?" "Yeah." He leaned down and kissed my cheek. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny. Because he had no idea. He had no idea that his perfect little secret was sitting 3 feet away from him. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to tell Madison that I knew. And I definitely wasn't going to give Daniel the chance to destroy evidence. I was going to become the woman he least expected. Quiet. Patient. Prepared. Over the next 2 weeks, I documented everything. The messages. The transfers. The photographs. The hotel reservations. The emails. And then I discovered something that changed everything. Daniel hadn't just been planning to leave me. He had been planning to take something with him. Something that legally belonged to both of us. Our biggest investment. The company I had helped him build from the beginning. I had invested my savings into that business when we were newly married. I'd worked nights. I'd handled our children. I'd supported Daniel while he built his career. And now I discovered he had been secretly preparing to transfer part of the company to Madison. That was my breaking point. Not the affair. Not the lies. Not even the betrayal. It was realizing that after 12 years of giving everything I had, Daniel had decided I deserved nothing. So I made one phone call. To a lawyer. And I said 4 words. I need your help. The next morning, I walked into Daniel's office wearing the same wedding ring I'd worn for 12 years. He looked up and smiled. "What's up?" I smiled back. "Nothing." He had no idea that while he was planning his new life, I was quietly taking mine back. And I was about to make sure he regretted underestimating me. The next morning, I woke up before Daniel. He was still sleeping. For a moment, I looked at him and remembered the man I married. Then I realized something painful. Maybe that man had been gone for years. Maybe I had simply been too loyal to notice. I got dressed, made breakfast for the children, kissed them goodbye, and went to work. Nobody knew what was happening. Not my friends. Not my family. Not even Daniel. And that was exactly how I wanted it. My lawyer, Sarah, reviewed everything I had collected. The affair. The bank transfers. The secret company. The emails. The planned transfer of our business assets. Then she looked at me. "Claire, you need to understand something." "What?" "If what you've shown me is accurate, Daniel isn't just cheating on you. He's been moving marital assets without your knowledge." I nodded. "I know." Sarah leaned back. "Then don't confront him yet." "Why?" "Because right now, he thinks you're unaware. That gives you an advantage." For the first time in weeks, I smiled. I wasn't going to fight Daniel with anger. I was going to fight him with facts. Over the next month, I quietly separated my finances. I secured my documents. I protected the money I had personally invested. And I made sure every questionable transaction was properly recorded. But Daniel became more confident. He started coming home later. He stopped pretending to care. One night, he sat across from me at dinner and said, "Claire, I think we've grown apart." I looked at him. "Do you?" "Yes." He sighed dramatically. "I don't know if this marriage can be saved." I almost admired the performance. "Are you seeing someone?" I asked. He looked directly into my eyes. "No." "A lie. A completely effortless lie." I nodded. "Okay." He looked surprised. "That's it? What do you want me to say?" "I don't know." I smiled. "Maybe we should both think about what we really want." He seemed relieved. He thought I was giving him permission to leave. He didn't realize I was giving him time to make more mistakes. And he did. 3 days later, I found an email from Madison. She wasn't patient anymore. She wanted Daniel to leave me. She wanted a house. She wanted security. And she wanted the business. Then came the message that finally exposed Daniel's entire plan. "Once Claire signs the papers, everything will be easier." I stared at the screen. "What papers?" I sent the message to my lawyer. 2 days later, Sarah found the answer. Daniel had prepared documents designed to make it appear that I was voluntarily giving up my interest in part of the company. He was going to tell me the business was struggling. He wanted me to sign. Then he planned to move forward with Madison. I couldn't believe how far he had gone. That evening, Daniel came home carrying a folder. "Claire, we need to talk." I looked at the folder. "What about?" "The business." He sat down. "There are some financial problems." I almost smiled. "Really?" "Yeah. We may have to restructure some things." He opened the folder. "I need you to sign these." I looked at the papers. Then I looked at him. "You want me to sign away my ownership?" He frowned. "It's temporary." "Are you sure?" "Of course." I picked up the pen. Daniel smiled. He thought he had one. Then I put the pen down. "I'll have my lawyer review them." His expression changed. Just slightly. But I saw it. "Why do you need a lawyer?" "Because I'm your wife, Daniel." And apparently, I should have started asking questions a long time ago. He went completely silent. I stood up. Then I placed a second phone on the table. His face turned white. For the first time in weeks, Daniel had nothing to say. He looked at the phone. Then at me. "Claire. Don't." He swallowed. "How long have you known?" "Long enough." "It's not what you think." I laughed. That was the first time I had laughed in front of him since discovering the affair. "Really?" "Madison and I." "You mean the woman you planned to leave me for?" He froze. Then he started apologizing. He said it was a mistake. He said he still loved me. He said Madison meant nothing. He promised it was over. But I wasn't listening anymore. Because I finally understood something. I wasn't leaving Daniel because Madison existed. I was leaving because Daniel had shown me who he really was. He had lied. He had betrayed me. He had used our money. And he had tried to take away everything I had helped build. So I gave him the only answer he deserved. "I don't want revenge, Daniel." He looked at me. "I want my life back." The divorce process wasn't easy. There were arguments. There were lawyers. There were accusations. Daniel tried to blame me. He told people our marriage had been unhappy. He said I had become distant. He even tried to make himself look like the victim. But the evidence spoke louder than he did. The financial records. The messages. The photographs. The secret transfers. The documents. Everything came out. And the company remained partly mine. The money Daniel had secretly moved was accounted for. And Madison? She discovered very quickly that Daniel's promises were worth nothing. The moment the financial truth came out, she disappeared. Daniel lost the woman he had risked everything for. But strangely, I didn't celebrate. Because by then, I didn't care about Madison anymore. I cared about me. For the first time in 12 years, I started making decisions based entirely on what I wanted. I went back to work. I traveled with my children. I started exercising again. I bought clothes because I liked them, not because Daniel liked them. I redecorated the house. I made new friends. And one morning, I looked into the mirror and realized I was smiling. Not because my marriage had ended. Because my life had started again. 6 months after the divorce, Daniel asked to meet me. We sat in a quiet cafe. He looked older. Tired. Regretful. I made the biggest mistake of my life, he said. I nodded. I'm sorry. I believe you. He looked hopeful. Do you think there's any chance? No. His face fell. I didn't say it cruelly. I didn't need to. Daniel, I spent 12 years building a life with you. When you betrayed me, I thought you had destroyed everything. I paused. But you didn't. He looked at me. I rebuilt it. And that was the truth. Daniel thought his affair would be the end of me. He thought I would beg him to stay. He thought I would spend the rest of my life wondering why I wasn't enough. Instead, his betrayal became the moment I finally chose myself. I didn't destroy his life. I didn't need to. I simply stopped protecting him from the consequences of his own choices. Today, I still wear the wedding ring sometimes. Not because I want Daniel back. But because it reminds me of the woman I used to be. The woman who gave everything to keep everyone else happy. And when I look at that ring now, I remember the night I found his second phone. I remember the pain. The fear. The betrayal. But most of all, I remember the decision I made afterward. I didn't take revenge. I took back my life. And honestly, that was the best revenge I could have ever given him.